Charles Luther McKesson was an American politician and writer. He was born in Payne County, Iowa in 1857, the son of John Michael McKesson and Nancy Ann McKesson. He graduated from the University of Nebraska and was clerk of Elk County and county attorney of El Paso County before he was elected mayor of Colorado Springs in 1913. In 1883 he married Bertha Sarah White, the pair having 6 children. He died in 1925. His only novel was the 1893 Under Pike's Peak. His story begins with Thomas Larnard, a solitary man without family ties, going to a boarding house near Pike's Peak for the sake of the view. He is told that 2 years ago, a certain man went down to examine the sides of a deep crevice and disappeared, never to be heard from again. Naturally, Larnard follows the man's footsteps and falls for a sheet of thin volcanic rock. After coming to a halt in the dark depths of the mountain, he comes across a race of small people walking around with their eyes closed, working at great deposits of gold. Soon he is too confronted by Mahalma, a beautiful woman and regular-sized person like himself, who reveals he is in the land of the Ozonians, a race of diminutive telepathic people who hid in the depths of the earth when the violent races above ground fell upon them and had nearly exterminated them. The Ozonians do not speak or see, except by way of the mind, and live only for the sake of universal love. Mahalma is only the latest of a long series of humans sent to them from above, as they believe, by the Firefather, whom they consider their deity. The Ozonians, apart from being obsessed with the symbolism of the triangle, revere this Firefather and think themselves chosen to spend eternity in the lake of fire, but pleasantly so, sporting about in the liquid flame and flying around on fiery wings. Larnard is fascinated by this until he is told he may never leave, as his knowledge of the massive gold deposits beneath the mountain would bring others and would spell doom for the Ozonians. Larnard is not too keen on going, as he has no one to return to, and finds himself falling in love with Mahalma, who however says she can only love him only as she loves everyone else. Then he runs across the man who had disappeared 2 years ago, Estella, whose disappearance made his fiancée lose her mind. Estella is himself white, haggard, and insane, and wishes to escape in some fashion, and is stopped from plunging himself into a lake of molten fire by pure chance. Once he gets better, Estella begins running around murdering all the Ozonians he can see and takes Mahalma hostage. He also horribly abuses Mahalma for months, before a fall makes him forget his terrible experiences and make him become himself again. However, having used the same telepathic vision as the Ozonians to see Estella be unduly familiar with Mahalma, Larnard suspects her of having been forced to him, and resolves to escape and purposefully send people down the mountain to wipe the Ozonians out. Yes, this sudden desire to commit genocide because he thinks he was spurned in favor of another comes right the hell out of nowhere, and is maintained even while those same people keep feeding him and caring for his wants for months on end. Finally, Larnard realizes that Mahalma was only caring for Estella to save her people, though he only seems to upbraid himself on account of having been unfair to her, but not that whole planning genocide thing. When Estella gets better, the entire cavern is suddenly destroyed by Criadagal, perhaps a demonic spirit, perhaps only a natural phenomenon the Ozonians gave a name to. This pseudo-demonic being was mentioned about 3 times in the whole novel. All the Ozonians perish, and Estella and Larnard carry Mahalma outside, only for her to die immediately anyway. The main faults of the novel are the discussions on brain molecules and how they make the senses work, which drag on too long, and the character of Qing Wei, a Chinese man who falls into the cavern and speaks in a rather forced English. There is some imagination to the setting, but there are really only 4 characters, as the Ozonians never obtain individuality and are just a mute mass.